Indiana Pacers versus the Boston Celtics. This is the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't think anybody would have predicted this matchup to begin with happening at the start of the regular season. Now, everybody would have expected Boston to be in the conference finals. That's something I think everyone predicted, but Indiana, you would have never predicted that. You would have assumed Sixers would have been there or the Bucks. Obviously, it didn't turn out that way due to all the injuries. So this is how we ended up with Indiana. Heck, I felt the Knicks were healthy, they would have gone to the conference finals. So, but Indiana's here. You can't knock them. They dealt with the cards that were given and they took advantage of their situation. And as they say, they seized the day. So it is what it is. They're now in the conference finals. This matchup, I'm not sure this will be an interesting matchup. Possibly it could be. It just really depends on how things go. One thing I'll say that's interesting, Celtics have a huge advantage on the perimeter. They are loaded on the perimeter. I think that's really their biggest advantage. It's very obvious. Jayson Tatum, Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Derek White. Those four guys have been great during these playoffs. They're all contributing, playing at a high level, especially offensively. When you look at Tatum, Brown, and White, they're playing really good basketball right now. So they're getting their numbers. That's one thing I would say. Tatum, I would say one thing I should say about him is he hasn't been efficient in these playoffs. 43% overall from the field is not going to cut it. He has to be better than that. You would assume he will be in the next series. Just I think this is a series to shine. He should take advantage of it. I would normally be concerned with Boston's lack of size right now with Porzingis being out still. I think he's not going to be back until game 3 or 4. But I think they can get away with it for now against the Pacers, as weird as it sounds, considering that Indiana's strength has been their size throughout the playoffs with Miles Turner and Siakam and then Obi Toppin off the bench. And they have that Jackson kid, Isaiah Jackson also. He's been solid even though he plays little minutes. He's very effective in the time he gets. But I think they can offset it because even though Siakam plays power forward and they play Tatum at power forward right now, I do believe he matches up very well with Siakam. Siakam is like 6'8", 6'9". Tatum looks to me like he's a legit 6'8". And Siakam has been a small forward before. So I think Tatum should get this matchup. Siakam can cause him problems, obviously with his length, his athletic ability. But Tatum should be able to win this matchup. He should. This will be a test for him. He should show that he is a great player. He wants to be great. That's what we've been hearing from him. So now he needs to show it against Siakam and win that matchup. He really should. You look at the perimeter, just Jaylen Brown. I don't know who's going to guard him from the Pacers. Will that be Nesmith or will that be Nembhard? Just, I don't know. And then you have Derek White. That question goes again, who will guard him? Just Nesmith, Nembhard, or will it be Haliburton? And then you have Giroux. Just maybe they'll put Haliburton on Giroux since Giroux hasn't really been a scorer throughout these playoffs. That's my prediction. They'll probably have Haliburton guard Giroux and then have Nembhard and Nesmith guard Derek White and Jaylen Brown. Derek White and Jaylen Brown should win these matchups against Nesmith and Nembhard. They're both superior players. They're much better than both of these guys. I expect them to do great things in that regard. So they should own those matchups. Now, obviously, Haliburton is going to get the better of Giroux because he is an offensive player. But Giroux's job is not to outscore him, it's to contain him. And I think Giroux still has enough in that tank to slow him down, to harass him, to disrupt him, and force a lot of turnovers. So that's the thing I'll say. Al Horford, despite being 50 years old, is still Al Horford. He's still a solid guy who can get you 8 to 10 points, 7 to 8 rebounds. Throughout the playoffs, he's been getting 8.8 points, 7.3 rebounds. So he's been solid. I think he'll be fine against Miles Turner. Granted, Miles Turner should obviously win this matchup. He's younger. He's in his prime. He's athletic. So obviously Miles Turner will win that matchup. You just hope Al Al can just get solid numbers. That's all you want from him. That's one thing. Now, when you look at the bench, this is where I feel the Pacers have the huge advantage. Their bench has been great throughout these playoffs. TJ McConnell and Obi Toppin are both averaging double figures off the bench. TJ McConnell averaging close to 11 points a game, and Obi is averaging 11. So both those guys are big. Now, Boston's bench, I have to say, is what they would say average at best. That's what I would say they are, average at best. They're not great, but I won't say that they're crap either. They're just average. That's really what it is. Now, I think Peyton Pritchard off the bench, he's a very pesky guy. He's very aggressive. I think he's actually the perfect foil for TJ McConnell. I think he should go out there and try to have the goal of just stopping him defensively and bothering him. Be a pest towards TJ like he's been a pest to everybody else. I think that's a matchup to look for, as weird as that sounds. I would look for that matchup off the bench when it comes to those two. That's what I would look for. I don't know who on Boston is going to guard Toppin off the bench. Luke Cornett, I guess. He's okay. I don't expect him to do anything to Toppin. I think Toppin will get his numbers. And Hauser is decent. I'll say he's all right. So their bench is just kind of like Scotch tape being held together, really. Just like the key matchup really is Peyton Pritchard versus McConnell. Pritchard needs to contain him, force him to have lower numbers than what he's having. I think that's like the head of the snake off the Pacers bench is McConnell. And if he does that, then Boston should be able to survive despite having a bench that is inferior to Indiana. Boston's strength is really the starters, so they have to just win their matchups and dominate their matchups, really. That's what I would look for Boston to do. If you're Indiana, you want to exploit your size. You want to crash the boards. You want to just go get as many offensive rebounds as you can. You want to force the inside game with Siakam and Miles Turner and topping off the bench. You want to bother them in the paint area and disrupt them in that regard. I would say on the offensive end, just be a problem. Defensively, I don't know how they can really stop Boston's perimeter players, elite perimeter players. I don't think they can, to be honest. I think Nesmith and Nembhard are now going to get exploited really badly, where they could cheat somewhat against the Knicks. Granted, they didn't do a good job at times guarding Dante DiVincenzo or Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson was lying their ass off. But I think this series, they're really not going to get any bailouts now, just with Boston's perimeter, and I think they're going to get exploited. So I do see Boston winning this series in 5 games. They should just if they go beyond that, I think they're going to regret it, because that Dallas Mavericks series can easily go 7 games. So you want to end this quickly if you're Boston. You want to handle the business. Try to take them out in 5 games, and if you can, try to sweep them. You want to get the rest. Boston should make that their goal and not settle for this series being a drag-out series. It shouldn't be a drag-out series. That's the way I look at it. Boston in 5 games.